Now it's Sparage taking the shot, scores!
What a move! What a goal! How about that?
It handles its way to the net, scores! Oh my goodness!
What's going on, folks? This is NOJHL Game Day. Alex Bastyovanszky here, back in the league studio. And although there are no actual games today, since it is the holiday break, it's the perfect time to review some of the biggest storylines from the campaign so far. This is our NOJHL Midseason Review, brought to you by BrokerLink, auto, home, and business insurance. BrokerLink, life is confusing. Your insurance shouldn't be.
Here's Walker with a beautiful cut to the middle. Another nice move. Walker, he scores! What a way to score your first NOJHL goal! Mason Walker, roll the highlight film!
We are officially at the midpoint of the NOJHL season. It's the perfect time to take stock of what's gone down so far and to look at what the biggest storylines have been this season.
Looking to return it to the front of the net. They score! Dax Klinkhammer!
Yeah, for me, one of the greatest storylines, biggest storylines this year would be the Greater Sudbury Cubs. They're having a phenomenal season.
Well, I mean, I hate to admit it, but the Cubs have been pretty impressive this year for sure. And they've definitely run away with the first half.
Big target on their back being the defending NOJHL champions, and they've been off to a much hotter start than they were last year. 2 13-game winning streaks, ranked number 1 in the country for the first time in the program's history.
And Coach Moxham in Sudbury, probably the biggest issue he's got is managing his bench with all those superstars that they do have and keeping the egos in check as they come down the stretch here and prepare for the playoffs.
What a feed and what a goal for Noah Cohen, making another power play goal for Sudbury.
Mayer goes back to Taylor, takes a shot, hey, scores!
But the Cubs are just one of several impressive teams up to this point.
But another team that's quietly flying under the radar and having a terrific season too is the Hearst Lumberjacks. And the Lumberjacks are led by a group of returning players, and they're really highly skilled. And they're 2 wins, 1 loss, and an overtime loss to the Sudbury Cubs this year. And when you look at that and you see Sudbury's record, the only other team to put a blemish on Sudbury having a perfect season is the Sioux Thunderbirds on the very first game of the year.
Hearst has just been so good, and Marco Lambezian's put a great organization together this year. Everything from the forwards to the defense and the goaltending, just everything is so well-rounded for the Lumberjacks.
One team, though, that I think people are sleeping on a little bit, and I've only got to see them a couple of times now, is the Sioux Eagles. They've put on quite a run there towards the Christmas holidays, and they've been really fun to watch. The Voodoos came into Powassan, and the Voodoos beat them in overtime, and since then they just took off from that game on, and they've been fun to watch, just the highlights that we've seen and stuff like that. So, I mean, obviously Sudbury and Hearst, they're quite the storylines, but I'm keeping my eye on the Sioux Eagles.
And some teams have even managed to surprise.
Out in front, McQueen scores!
The biggest surprise this year has been the Blind River. Blind River was a run-and-gun offensive team. A couple of guys, Wyatt Gibson and Owen King, that can really light it up. But they've turned it around to be a more defensive-minded systems team rather than a run-and-gun style team, and they've been playing some great hockey.
If we take a look at the league's scoring leaders, Lucas Signoretti has a comfortable lead on top with 65 points. He's the reigning NOJHL MVP.
Racing into the zone, Signoretti waiting, walking, he scores! The hat trick, short-handed goal!
Yeah, certainly if I had to pick a candidate for the most valuable player in the league this year, it has to be Lucas Signoretti. He's having a phenomenal season. He's putting up big points every game.
MVP for me would have to be Lucas Signoretti at this point. I mean, how can it not be? He's already on pace to break his single season total points. He's, everyone around the league agrees that Signoretti has been on fire and is definitely the MVP of the first half of the season.
If you had to look at somebody else to go in consideration, to go on a ballot against him, you'd probably have to go to Samuel Asinaway on his own team, who's having a great year himself and just being overshadowed by Signoretti on that club.
But there have been standout defensemen as well, and Richard Whitty thinks one in particular might rival Signoretti for the MVP award.
Shalala let one rip in! He scores!
Derek Schillinglaw has just probably been the best outright defenseman in the league. You know, and apologies to anybody else or any other teams that may think they have somebody in consideration. But when you consider a player who's the captain of their team and makes players around him better, plays lots of minutes shorthanded, power play, he's probably been the best defenseman in the league.
And don't sleep on the main man between the posts for the Timmins Rock, who's kept his team in games time and time again.
I think top goalie for me would have to be Dryden Riley. I mean, he just really has exceeded all expectation, and again, getting named to the Team Canada East roster for the World Junior A Challenge in Camrose was amazing news, not just for him, but the league as a whole. So I think Dryden Riley, the stats speak for itself. He's just been by far the best goalie in the league right now, and I expect him to have a really strong second half of the season.
Also, there have been numerous first-year NOJHLers who have taken the league by storm in their rookie season.
Best rookie for me boils down to two right now. Hunter Valanis has really come out of nowhere for the French River Rapids. Yes, they haven't been having that great of a year, but Valanis has just carried the Rapids on his back. He really has been fantastic for them. Alex Bastyovanszky from the Sioux Eagles has really been impressive as well. These are just two kids that really came out of nowhere and have just provided amazing and potent offense for both of their teams. If I were to pick between the two, I would probably give the edge to Paul Rosniak just for how good of a run that the Eagles are on right now heading into the second half.
Yeah, another rookie that's really impressed me in the few games I've got to see him so far is Caden Wicklander. Whenever he comes into town with Espanola, he's been a lot of fun to watch for sure. He has the puck. He's hard to knock off the puck, and he seems to be very creative in the offensive zone, and he's no slouch coming back on the back check either.
Back cross ice, what a save by Norrell! Oh my goodness!
But one thing that really sticks out this year is the parity. While Sudbury does have a healthy lead in first, there's a logjam from second through fifth. Top to bottom, no team is safe on game day.
Yeah, and 6 to 10, there's 10 points separating 6th place to 10th place. And even you could throw Elliott Lake in there, who seems to be on a bit of a run of late. And they get back into the Centennial Arena and start playing in front of real, genuine hometown crowds. They're slowly creeping back into that picture as well. So you've got, 6 through 11 basically fighting for 3 playoff spots. And down the stretch, it's going to be a lot of fun.
From a broadcasting standpoint, last year there was a few teams you could kind of count out. You knew when they rolled into the building, okay, well, this should be an easy 2 points. But I mean, case in point, the Iroquois Falls Storm came in just before the holiday break and really kind of gave a lump of coal to the Powassan Voodoos and beat them in that game. So the parity has been absolutely phenomenal, and that only means good things for the NOJHL.
Cameron Jansen now. Big hit by Totem. He obliterated him on that rush.
So down the stretch they come. The race towards the postseason should be breathtaking. And be sure to write January 10th into your calendar. That's the CJHL trade deadline.
I expect a lot of these top 4 teams to load up with defense and forward depth and look at a lot of these basement teams to just kind of, remove some of their assets heading towards the remaining half of the season.
It's going to be fun to see what moves the teams make, especially with the parity, how many teams are going to sit on their hands kind of thing, and how many teams are actually going to try and go for it, because once you get into the dance, really anything can happen, right? So, but the thing that gets me most excited about the second half is that we're that much closer to playoff hockey, which everyone knows is the best kind of hockey.
Scores! 0.5 seconds to go.
Buzzer beater.
And that is going to wrap things up for today. But just a reminder, all throughout the season, to stay up to date on everything that's going on in the NOJHL. Be sure to check out the league's official social media outlets. Thanks so much for watching.